Right now, as you watch this video, students in North Korea are being sent to political prison camps for listening to the same music you have on your phone. Jun-hyuk Kim was a top computer engineering student in Pyongyang, and he was one of them, hiding a USB drive that could have destroyed his entire family. He and 4 classmates made a decision that most people never face risk death for freedom or live a life forever. This is what that choice actually looks like from the inside. Your subscription amplifies these urgent voices. Join us in making a difference. It all started like this. I was 25 years old back in 2020. My family lived in Pyongyang's Botongang district on Gwangbok Street. Think of it as the equivalent of a luxury high-rise in Manhattan's Upper East Side, a 20-story building. We were on the 16th floor. Open the window and you'd see the Taedong River. On clear days, the Yushe Tower rose in the distance. My grandfather had served as a deputy director on the party central committee. My father was a mid-level official at the State Security Department. As you may know, in North Korea, your family background is everything. I was born into privilege. Even in kindergarten, I was different from the other kids. On days when the food ration system broke down, white rice still sat on our table. When other families shivered through winter, our home stayed warm. I entered Kim Il-sung University in 2018, top of the nation on the entrance exam, computer engineering. I was proud, genuinely proud. My parents were overjoyed. Our son got into Kim Il-sung University. My father announced to every relative he could reach by phone. In North Korea, that name carries more weight than any other institution. Only the best of the best get in. University life felt like a dream. The dormitories were modern. Every room had heat. The power rarely cut out, maybe once or twice a week. In other parts of Pyongyang, blackouts happened daily. By comparison, we were living in another world. The cafeteria food was decent too. Rice and a meat dish 2 or 3 times a week. By South Korean university standards, it would seem pathetic. But back then, I thought it was the best life had to offer. My classmates all came from similar backgrounds. Park Si-yu was the son of a scientist at the Academy of Sciences. Lee Soo-jin's father was a diplomat. Choi Min-jun's family ran a state trading company. Jong Da-yoon's father was a university professor. We were all Pyongyang-born children of cadres, handpicked into what we called the gifted class, a special track for the country's sharpest minds. When COVID hit in 2020, not much changed for us. The borders slammed shut. Pyongyang was sealed off from outsiders. But for people like us, things actually got better. With fewer goods flowing in from China, what remained was distributed among those who already had access. We had enough masks, enough supplies. What ordinary people were going through, honestly, I never thought about it. By my 3rd year, I began working in a development unit for Kwangmyong, North Korea's internal intranet. Not the real internet, a closed network that only existed inside the country. I told myself we were doing something important, leading the nation's digital future. But doubts started creeping in. Why is the real internet blocked? Why do we need special clearance just to access Chinese or Russian IT materials? Some of the senior developers had returned from overseas assignments. They carried something in their faces like men who wanted to say something, but had learned not to. I started graduate school in 2022. That autumn, my overseas assignment came through. Moscow, 3-year contract as an IT worker. 90% of my salary would go directly to the party. I'd keep 10%. Even so, I was thrilled. Going abroad was an honor. My parents were a mix of worry and pride. Be careful, my father said. Living in a foreign country puts strange ideas in your head. Then he turned around and called every relative to brag. My brother was an army officer on leave. Lucky you, he said. I've always wanted to go abroad. My younger sister was studying at the Pyongyang University of Music and Dance. Bring me chocolate from Russia, she said. I had no idea my life was about to change completely. That winter before I left for Moscow, something happened that shook me to the core. One night, a senior colleague pulled me aside. Do you actually want to know the truth? He asked. Then he reached into his pocket and held out a small USB drive. I had no idea that little device would rewrite my future. It was a cold night in November 2022. He was a trade company employee who traveled to China 2 or 3 times a year, a rare privilege. Don't tell anyone, he said. Watch it alone. Delete it when you're done. Then he was gone. Back in my dorm room, I plugged it in. My hands were shaking. The folder opened on screen, full of video files. My heart pounded as I read the titles. Seoul at Night, BTS Concert, Korean Convenience Store, North Korean Human Rights Documentary. The first thing I watched was a satellite photo. North and South Korea, side by side, shot from space at night. The South blazed with light. Seoul, Busan, Daegu. The whole country glittered like a field of stars. The North was dark. A faint glow over Pyongyang and then nothing. Total darkness. The contrast hit me like a fist. Is this real? My first instinct was to call it fake. South Korean propaganda designed to make us look bad. That's what I'd been taught to think. But the other videos made that harder to believe. A young man walks into a Korean convenience store at 3 in the morning and buys a triangle gimbap and milk. The store is just open, shelves stacked with things. It has to be staged, I told myself. But I kept watching. There was footage of a group called BTS in concert. Tens of thousands of people screaming, lights blazing, everyone beaming. Is that the South Korea we were taught about? The place where people supposedly starved under the heel of the American military. I watched a soccer player named Son Heung-min play in the English Premier League, the whole world cheering for him. A South Korean playing freely across the world, earning a fortune while doing it, while I needed special authorization just to leave the country. The most devastating thing was a documentary about North Korea, told through defectors' testimonies, political prison camps, public executions, people dying of hunger. I tried to dismiss it. Traitors paid to lie. But the eyes on screen didn't look like liars. They looked like people in real pain. One woman spoke directly to the camera. "I'm from Hamhung," she said. "My father was taken to a political prison camp for criticizing Kim Jong-il. I was 10 years old. My mother, my little brother, and I were taken too. We lived there for 10 years. One handful of corn a day. Working in the mines. My brother starved to death. Something cracked inside me. I had relatives in Hamhung. I'd visited once as a child and been startled by how different it was from Pyongyang. Rations short, power cutting out. What if she was telling the truth? For days I watched videos every night, alone. I kept the secret from everyone. It felt like carrying a truth that didn't belong to the world I lived in. There was something called YouTube. Every piece of information imaginable, North Korean news, footage of Kim Jong-un, things we were never supposed to see, all of it just sitting there, open. I watched a show called Squid Game. It had topped global charts, streamed simultaneously by people all over the world, on something called Netflix. What are we? Why are we cut off from all of this? The questions exploded in my head. The moment that broke me open was a video of separated families reuniting. An elderly man meeting the younger sister. He'd left behind in the North 70 years apart, both of them weeping. "You were alive," he kept saying. "You were alive." I cried without meaning to. My grandfather had told me he had siblings in the South, separated during the Korean War. That's when it became clear. Everything we'd been taught was a lie. 70 years of division, manufactured hatred, hidden truth. The South wasn't hell. It was more free, more prosperous, and by every measure more alive than us. We'd been told we were the greatest nation on earth. We were the ones left behind. When I returned the USB, I asked him directly, "Is this real?" He exhaled slowly and nodded. I didn't believe it at first either. Then I went to China and saw it with my own eyes. We've been deceived. Completely. He paused, then said quietly, "You're going to Russia. Once you're there, you'll have access to the real internet. See it for yourself." After that night, the world looked different. When professors lectured about the superiority of our socialist system, something in me wanted to laugh. When the news claimed South Koreans were suffering, I heard the lie in it. I couldn't unsee what I'd seen. But the most terrifying part was having no one to tell. Not my parents. My father worked for the state security department. He could report me. Not my friends. Anyone could be an informant. Not my brother. He was military. I was completely alone. I hadn't known until then how lonely it is to be the only person carrying the truth. 3 months passed. In February of my second year, a senior student suddenly vanished. No classes, not in the dorm, no answer on his phone. Word came through later he'd been caught watching foreign videos, taken to a political prison camp. My body went cold. If I'm caught, that's me. If they find out about the USB, my life is over, not just mine, but my parents, my brothers, my sisters. North Korea punishes 3 generations. What do I do? Live like this forever? That's when I started thinking seriously. I have to leave. I have to get out. At first it seemed insane. A student at Kim Il-sung University, a cadre's son, approved for overseas assignment. Defecting, it was madness. But the world inside that USB kept coming back to me. I want to live there. I want to use the real internet. I want to think freely, speak freely. The desire kept growing. Once you've seen the truth, you can't pretend you haven't. Pandora's box was open, and I knew it couldn't be closed. Spring came in March 2023, but inside it was still winter. The propaganda posters plastered on every wall. Long live the great leader now just looked absurd. If we're so great, why are we so poor? The weekly self-criticism sessions in class felt like a slow torture. Every Wednesday, students stood up one by one to confess their revolutionary failures. Someone hadn't worn their Kim Jong-un badge. Someone was late to morning exercises. I used to participate without a second thought. This week I dozed off in the library. My revolutionary will was lacking. But now I sat there thinking, what kind of university is this? This is a prison. I smiled and nodded on the outside. Inside, I was somewhere else entirely. Then one day, a classmate named Park Si-yu pulled me aside in the corridor. He checked both directions before speaking, voice barely above a whisper. Have you ever seen anything strange? My heart dropped. What do you mean? I played dumb. He studied me for a long moment. Never mind. My mistake. That night, he came to my dorm room. He locked the door, reached into his bag and pulled something out. A USB drive. The same kind. I've seen it too, he said, voice trembling. Those videos. We've been lied to. Completely. We talked until sunrise. Siu had been carrying the same weight for months. I can't live like this anymore, he said, and he was crying. I want out. But what do we do? Cadre kids like us defect, our whole families get wiped out. 3 generations. Our parents die. He was right. Even ordinary families faced punishment when someone defected. For us, it would be total destruction. Every family member sent to a political prison camp. I know, I said, but I can't stay either. CO, we're both going to Russia. Let's watch for an opening. He nodded. Let's get out from there. From that night on, we planned in secret. The idea was to slip away in Moscow and make it to the South Korean embassy. The problem was the Minders' state security agents, assigned to every overseas work group, watching our every move. By April, more friends had joined our quiet circle. Sujin, Minjun, Dayun, all of them had seen the videos. 5 of us would gather on the dormitory rooftop. After dark, speaking in whispers. Let's go together. Strength in numbers. But the danger was closing in. One day in May, security agents raided the dormitories without warning. Every computer, every USB drive, every phone inspected, searching for reactionary materials. We'd already deleted everything, hidden every trace. But 2 other students weren't so lucky. One had a Chinese drama on his device. The other had Korean pop songs on an MP3 player. That was all it took. They were dragged out in front of us. The agents screamed and beat them until blood ran. They didn't stop. The boys' parents came the next day. They got on their knees and begged. It didn't matter. The label had been applied, family of reactionaries. The fathers lost their jobs. The mothers lost their party membership. The remaining family members were sent to the provinces. One moment, one family destroyed. We became even more careful, meeting one at a time, staggered, never together, speaking in near silence, no phones, ever. The listening devices were everywhere, but we couldn't give up. We already knew too much. In early June, the departure date was confirmed. We'd leave in late July. The chance is coming. But fear came with it. What if we fail? Failure means death. Every night I dreamed the same nightmares. Seized by security agents, tortured, shot. My parents dragged away. My mother noticed. You don't look well lately. Something worrying you? What could I say? Mom, I'm planning to defect. I'm just nervous about Russia, I told her. She took my hand. You'll be fine. You're smart. Work hard for your country. Come home safe. Those words cut through me. Betraying the country, betraying the mother who believed in me. But what does country even mean? A country that starves its people, surveils them, lies to their faces? I didn't know anymore. Was I the one who was wrong, or was it this place? In mid-June, ideological screening intensified. Everyone cleared for overseas assignment. Had to appear before a state security officer. Are you loyal to the party? Do you love the supreme leader? Will you remain steadfast abroad? I delivered my answers perfectly. I am loyal. I will give my life for the homeland. I forced tears into my eyes as I spoke. The officer looked satisfied. Good. You're trustworthy. Go work hard for our nation. Walking out, I felt hollow. I was a liar. But in North Korea, honest people get punished. Skilled liars survive. We'd been taught integrity, but what we'd actually learned was how to perform it. July arrived. My parents packed my bags. My mother mended my socks. My father tucked in a pack of cigarettes. Don't get sick. Be careful. I felt their love in every gesture. That made it harder. My sister cried. Promise you'll come back in 3 years. I can't do this without you. I held her tight. I'll come back. I promise. A lie. I had no intention of returning, but I couldn't tell her the truth. If I did, she'd become an accomplice. My brother came in uniform a short leave before shipping back out. Don't forget where you come from. You're this family's pride. His shoulders looked heavy. 10 years of military service. A man who'd given himself to the system. I'm sorry, I said, but only in my head. The night before departure, the 5 of us gathered. One last time on the bank of the Taedong River. Dark water, dark city, 5 figures huddled close. Let's make it. Let's find the opening in Russia. We pressed our hands together. Trembling but warm. Not alone. What if we fail? Sujin asked. Minjun answered. Even then, no regrets. At least we tried. That's better than a lifetime of this. We all nodded. We were ready. We knew we might die. We went anyway. July 20th, Pyongyang Sunan Airport. The plane lifted off and the city pulled away below the city. Where I was born, where everyone I loved was still sleeping. Goodbye, Pyongyang. Goodbye, family. I'm sorry. And thank you. Tears threatened. I held them back. The security minder was sitting right next to me. The watching had already begun. But quietly, in a place no one could reach, I made a promise. I will find freedom. And one day I will tell the world the truth. The plane climbed above the clouds. Landing at Moscow's Sheremetyevo Airport felt like stepping into a different dimension. The terminal was enormous, modern, alive. Passengers moved freely, dressed however they wanted. It was my first look at the world outside. We were bused to our housing, a rundown apartment complex on the city's outskirts, where North Korean IT workers lived in groups, 4 to a room. By luck, CU and I were assigned together. The others were right next door. First day the rules. No going outside. Return to quarters immediately after work. No talking to Russians. No phones. The security minder made it clear. You're here to work. Don't get any ideas. We're watching. The work was brutal. 8 in the morning to 10 at night. Writing code for Russian companies. Proxy labor. Our salary was roughly $1,000 a month. We received 100. The party took the rest. Slave labor in everything but name. But that wasn't what mattered. What mattered was finding a way out. About a week in, I snuck onto the internet from a work computer. The real internet. Google, YouTube, Facebook. The full world, accessible with a keystroke. I searched for Seoul. Photographs poured across the screen towers, clean streets, brilliant light. That's where we're going. I searched for the South Korean embassy in Moscow. It came up immediately. Address, hours, everything. 30 minutes by subway. In early August, the opening appeared. A project backlog meant we'd work on Saturday. The minder decided he wanted the day off. Handle it yourselves. I need to rest. Surveillance loosened. That night, 5 people gathered. This is it, CU said. Tomorrow. Everyone was tense. Everyone agreed. We planned through the night. Slip out before dawn, take the subway, reach the embassy. The problem was money. We barely had any, not even enough for subway fare. Daeun reached into her bag and pulled out a gold ring. We sell this. My mother gave it to me. But there's no other way. Her eyes filled. She didn't let it fall. The next morning, Minjun slipped out early and sold the ring for $200. Enough for a taxi, enough for food. We were ready. Then the minder appeared out of nowhere. What are you all doing Sunday? Thinking of going out? Everyone shook their heads. He studied us with narrow eyes. Don't try anything. We're watching. The plan was nearly blown, but we couldn't stop now. We pushed it back 1 week. That week was its own kind of endurance. Every day holding the fear down, watching every expression, every word. One slip and it was over. August 15th, Liberation Day in South Korea. The anniversary of independence from Japanese occupation. Let's liberate ourselves today, someone said. Half joking. Entirely serious. 4 in the morning. 5 people crept into the hallway. The building was silent. We went down the stairs one careful step at a time. Every creak sent our hearts into our throats. The front door was locked. Sujin pointed toward the back. We moved that way. It opened. Cold air. Freedom's air. The street was empty. We ran to the subway station, lungs burning, legs pumping, pushing each other forward. Just a little more. We reached the entrance. The morning crowd was thin. I bought a ticket with hands so unsteady I dropped the coins. Easy, Siu said quietly, steadying my shoulder. Breathe. We boarded the train. A handful of Russian passengers, none of them looking our way. To them, we were just ordinary Asian tourists. Inside, we were a storm. Is this really happening? Are we actually doing this? 30 minutes stretched like a lifetime. At every stop, I glanced back, half expecting uniforms behind us. No one came. Almost there. Hold on. We gripped each other's hands. We got off and came up into morning light. The sun was blinding. Where's the embassy? No phones, no map. Minjun walked up to a passing Russian and asked in his university. Russian, rough but determined. The man gestured. We understood enough. 10 minutes of walking. Then a building came into view. A South Korean flag snapping in the wind. That's it, Doan said. That's the Korean embassy. We ran. We stood at the front gate, gasping. A guard stepped toward us and said something in Russian. We didn't understand. Korean, Korean, Siu shouted. The guard tilted his head. I screamed in Korean everything I had left in my lungs. We're from North Korea. Please help us. We're defectors. The guard's expression shifted. He reached for his radio and made a call. 5 minutes. The door opened. A man in a suit stepped out, middle-aged Korean. Please come inside. You're safe now. He said it in Korean. Real Korean. My legs gave way. I sat down on the pavement right there. Daeyeon started crying. Sujin too. Minjun looked up at the sky and said, Thank you. Siu put his arm around me. I wept. Relief that we'd survived. Joy that we'd made it. Both at once. Inside, they sat us down in a warm room. Water. Bread. Take your time, the staff member said. You're safe. We can get you to South Korea. We did it. We're free. But right behind the joy came the guilt. My parents. My brother. My sister. Still in the north. They're going to suffer for this. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The faces came flooding back. It was the happiest moment of my life, and it was tearing me apart. For a month, we stayed at the embassy, working through paperwork verification procedures. Then the word came Incheon Airport. A direct flight from Moscow, a place I'd only imagined. September 15th, the plane lifted off and Russia fell away beneath us. Goodbye, Russia. You gave us our freedom. We're grateful. In flight, they played a Korean film, Parasite. It was funny. So this is Korean cinema. I can watch whatever I want now. Excitement, quiet and warm. Sujin turned to me. We did it. I still can't believe it. Neither can I said. But this is only the beginning. A whole new life is waiting. I looked out at clouds and the sea beyond them. On the other side of that water, Korea. The one we dreamed of. 10 hours. The pilot's voice came over the speaker. We are beginning our descent into Incheon International Airport. My heart started hammering. The ground appeared. Lights twinkling below. The plane touched down. Welcome to the Republic of Korea. The flight attendant's voice. And I was crying again. The Republic of Korea. Free land. Same people, same language. A completely different world. We walked off the plane and into the terminal. Enormous. Clean. Bright. People moving in every direction, laughing, talking freely. I'm really here. Is this real? At immigration, a staff member led us to a private room. You're the defectors? Welcome. You are now citizens of the Republic of Korea. Hearing that, my knees buckled. Citizens. I am a free person. And just like that, our new lives began. A bus took us to Hanawon, a government resettlement center, where North Korean defectors spend 3 months learning to live in South Korea. I hadn't known what it was. Now I'd find out. The highway outside the window was another shock. Clean roads, orderly lanes of traffic, bright streetlights. Completely different from home, Siu murmured. We arrived late at night in Ansong, Gyeonggi Province. The facility was clean. The beds were soft. The rooms were warm. We live here for 3 months, Daeyeon said, incredulous. Even cadre kids in the north didn't have it this good. That first night I couldn't sleep. By now, back in North Korea, it would be chaos. 5 students from Kim Il-sung University vanished in Russia. What happened to my parents when they found out? My brother, my sister? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I soaked my pillow. Morning brought lessons. Korean history, politics, economy, culture, all of it from scratch. What struck me first was what the teachers didn't do. They didn't attack North Korea. North Koreans are our people, one said. The problem is the system. A fair distinction. I hadn't expected that. The history lesson that silenced me was the Korean War. What I'd always been told that the South invaded first, that it was a war of national liberation, wasn't true. North Korea crossed the border first. My head went blank. We've been lied to. From the very beginning. The economics class was equally staggering. South Korea ranked 12th in the world by GDP, per capita income exceeding $30,000. North Korea under 1,000. Same people, same peninsula. How? The South chose democracy and a market economy, the teacher explained. The North chose dictatorship and central planning. That choice made this gap. I sat with that. We didn't even get to choose. In computer class, I searched Google for the first time. North Korea. Millions of results, photographs, news articles. Criticism, political cartoons, everything. This is what free information looks like. I was overwhelmed. Then we were each given a smartphone, courtesy of the government. An iPhone. In my hands, the whole world fit into a pocket. Phone, text, internet, photos, music. I installed KakaoTalk, a messaging app. I could talk to my friends in real time, send photos, use stickers. In the North, I'd always spoken carefully, afraid of being listened to. Here I just talked. The news was its own revelation. In North Korea, there was one state broadcaster. Here, dozens. KBS, MBC, SBS, JTBC, each with its own perspective, sometimes contradicting each other. Which one's right? I asked. The teacher smiled. They're all real. They just see things differently. You decide what to believe. You decide. That hit harder than anything. In North Korea, the party decided for you. This is right. That is wrong. Everything pre-sorted. Here, I had to think for myself. At first, it was disorienting. Then it became the most natural thing in the world. We watched Korean dramas freely. Extraordinary Attorney Woo, The Glory. Reborn Rich. I loved the love stories most. In the North, even romance required the party's implicit approval. Here, people just fell in love. Music BTS, Blackpink, IU, Lim Young-won. So this is K-pop. It was bright, energetic, free. North Korean songs all sounded like military anthems. These were alive. After about a month, we got our first field trip. A staff member took us to Seoul by subway and walked us through Myeongdong. People everywhere, laughing and shopping and eating in the street. I walked into a cosmetics store. Hundreds of shades of lipstick. How do I even choose? I asked the attendant. She smiled and guided me patiently through the options, gave me samples to try, offered to match them to my skin tone. No charge. I was stunned. A convenience store 24 hours, shelves packed with Triangle. Gimbap, instant noodles, drinks, boxed meals. All available anytime. A fried chicken restaurant, the menu alone was overwhelming. Fried, soy sauce, garlic, half and half, spicy. I ordered original. One bite. My jaw dropped. This is Korean fried chicken. Walking Myeongdong that evening, neon signs, music spilling from every doorway. People happy and moving freely, I felt something settle inside me. This is what freedom looks like. In the North, the power cut off at 10 and the city went dark. Here, the night was brighter than the day. On the bus back to Hanwon, I thought I am so lucky to have this. And in the same breath, I want my family to have this too. My parents. My sister eating fried chicken for the first time. Tears again. 2 months in, a counselor asked about my plans. I want to go to university, I said. I want to keep studying computer engineering. You can, she said. There are special admissions tracks for North Korean defectors. Seoul National University is a real possibility. Seoul National University. I had to hear it twice. You studied at Kim Il-sung University, she said. With the right preparation, you can get there. That day, I started over as a student. Korean history, English, math. All 5 of us found our targets. Siu was aiming for KAIST. Sujin for Yonsei. Minjun for Korea University. Dayun for Ewha Women's University. The 3 months passed quickly. On graduation day, we received our certificates. Congratulations on your first steps. As citizens of the Republic of Korea, the director said. Applause filled the room. I cried without shame. We left Hanwon with almost nothing, a few changes of clothes, some books, a smartphone. That was it. The government gave us settlement funds and housing support. Start fresh with this, the caseworker said. I was grateful in a way I'd never been grateful for anything. On the bus to Seoul, I looked out the window. Blue sky. Free people. A future with a shape I could almost make out. I'm going to make it. I know I will. We made a pact. In 1 year, when we've all been accepted to our schools, we meet again. Fried chicken in Myeongdong. Everyone laughed. Deal. We shook hands. The bus entered Seoul. Skyscrapers rising, Namsan Tower, the Han River. This is my city now. This is home. I rented a small room, just me, just mine. The first time in my life I'd lived alone. North Korea was always collective, always watched. This is independence. It's free and it's lonely at the same time. That first night I made instant ramen from the convenience store. I ate alone, watching television, watching whatever I wanted. Before bed, I looked in the mirror. The face looking back was lighter than the one I remembered. Freedom changes a person. But before sleep came the thoughts of home. What are they doing right now? Are they okay? Are they struggling because of me? No phone call. No letter. No way. That hurt more than anything. Someday, when we're reunited, I'll tell you everything. I'll make you proud. I whispered it into the dark. Tears ran and I let them. Because even that was freedom. A new morning came. Seoul's morning. Freedom's morning. Today is the real beginning. Let's go. I said it to the mirror. Then I opened the door and walked into the world. December 2023. Seoul was cold, but something inside me burned. I submitted a special admissions application to Seoul National University. Can I actually get in? The doubt was real. The determination was stronger. I taught myself. 10 hours a day in the library. Korean history, English, interview prep. So much to relearn. So much that contradicted what I'd been taught. The hardest part was English. In the North, Russian was the primary foreign language. My English was basic, I am a student level. SNU required fluency. The TOEFL. I couldn't afford a cram school, so I used YouTube. Free lectures, all of it. In North Korea, 1 hour of private tutoring cost a fortune. Here, the best teachers in the world were free. Studying English, I stumbled into something unexpected. I could read foreign articles about North Korea, BBC, CNN, the New York Times. So this is how the world sees us. It was humbling. It was necessary. I got a part-time job at a convenience store. Night shift 10 in the evening to 6 in the morning. Hard work, but it was my money. Earned with my own hands. For the first time in my life, I was supporting myself. The store drew all kinds of people. Late-night students cramming for exams, drunk office workers, couples grabbing midnight snacks. They come and go freely in the middle of the night. In North Korea, being outside after curfew without a travel permit meant arrest. Here, freedom ran 24 hours. I used to watch the college students buying energy drinks during exam season and think that's going to be me soon. We all worked hard. Siu tutored math to fund his case prep. Soo-jin studied biology for Yonsei's medical school. Minjun and Daeun pushed just as hard. Once a week, we gathered to check on each other. Exhausted, Siu asked one night. Yeah, but I'm not stopping, I said. We didn't risk our lives to fail at this. Everyone laughed. We were each other's fuel. January 2024. Interview day at Seoul National University. Standing at the gate, I couldn't quite believe I was there. Past the gate, through the corridor, into the interview room. 3 professors across a table. Please sit, said one. Warm voice. My heartbeat slowed slightly. You studied at Kim Il-sung University, computer engineering. He'd read the file. Yes. Why did you defect? I'd expected this. I answered without performance. Because I learned the truth. A single USB drive showed me a world I didn't know existed. I wanted to live freely. The professors nodded. What would you do here at Seoul National University? I want to study artificial intelligence. I spent my time in North Korea, helping maintain a system designed to control information. Now I want to build technology that sets it free. One professor smiled. How would you describe the difference between education in the North and education in the South? I thought for a moment. The North tells you what to think. The South teaches you how to think. I want to learn how to think. 30 minutes. A few more questions. Programming, North Korea's IT sector, my plans. No reason to lie. No need. Thank you. Results will be posted in 2 weeks. I walked outside. Legs unsteady. Sky wide and blue. Did I do well enough? What if I don't get in? I'd done everything I could. That steadied me. 2 weeks felt like 2 years. I refreshed the website daily. February 15th results day. I was at my computer by 9. By 10, my hands were shaking. I opened the page. The list appeared. I scrolled down. Kim Jun-hyuk. There. I screamed. I checked again. It was real. Accepted. Seoul National University, Department of Computer Science and Engineering. Tears. No holding them back. I did it. I actually did it. I called the others. Siu picked up first. You got in? He shouted. Me too, cased. Sujin Yonsei, Minjun Korea University. Dayonewa Women's University. All 5 of us. Every single one. We met that evening at a fried chicken restaurant in Myeongdong. 5 whole chickens. We raised our glasses of cola. We made it, Siu said. We risked everything and we made it. I want to tell my parents, Sujin said and started crying. We all went quiet. The people we most wanted to tell were the ones we couldn't reach. Someday, Minjun said softly, when there's reunification. We live well until then, I said. We succeed, so that when we see them again we can look them in the eye. Everyone nodded. We ate our chicken and talked about the future. I want to become a doctor and treat North Koreans, Sujin said. I want to be an engineer and help rebuild the infrastructure, Siu added. Each of us carrying the same quiet dream. A North Korea that gets to be different. March, first day of school. I'd bought a blue Seoul National University t-shirt. I stood in front of the mirror. Kim Jun-hyuk, SNU student. I still couldn't fully believe it. I took the subway. Next stop, Seoul National University. When the announcement came, my throat tightened. Through the gate and onto the campus, spring flowers everywhere, students crossing in all directions, laughter in the air. My school. I found the computer science building. Took a seat in the lecture hall. The professor walked in. Artificial intelligence introduction. Welcome. Class began. The level was far beyond anything in Pyongyang. This is going to take everything I have. That afternoon I went to the central library. Millions of books, the staff told me. I stood there unable to speak. I typed North Korea into the search terminal. Thousands of results. Biographies of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. Defector testimonies, policy analyses, research collections. It's all just here. Open. Available. In the North, reading any of this could get you killed. Here, it just sat on a shelf waiting to be borrowed. I pulled one book off the shelf. The Truth About North Korea. I opened it. Political prison camps, human rights abuses, famine. I read and tears fell quietly onto the pages. I checked out 10 books. Heavy bag. Happy heart. That night I read until dawn. I couldn't stop. I needed to know the truth. The history, the full picture of what I'd come from and what it meant. 3 seconds. That's how long it took from walking through the library door to realizing my life had completely changed. 3 seconds from a search terminal to a shelf. And in that moment, everything shifted. This is freedom. Freedom of information. Freedom of knowledge. The next morning, a classmate in the cafeteria was watching a YouTube video titled Pyongyang Vlog. I gathered my nerve. Excuse me, you're watching something about North Korea. Yeah, he said, smiling. I'm curious about it. It seems fascinating. When I told him I was from there, his eyes went wide. Seriously, what was it like? No hostility. Just genuine curiosity. Pyongyang is cleaner than you'd expect, I said. But there's no freedom, I answered honestly. That's incredible. Tell me more sometime. After that, friends started accumulating. Minsu, Jihye, Songjun. None of them treated me differently for where I'd come from. They helped me fill in the gaps, invited me to things, made space. If you don't understand something, just ask. I joined the computer science club, team projects. And there I encountered something. I wasn't prepared for democratic decision-making. Should we include this feature? Raise your hand if yes. Majority rules. In the North, when the team leader decided, you followed. Period. Here, the team leader could be outvoted. Here, the team leader could be told they were wrong. It took time to adjust. I'd been trained to keep my opinions behind my teeth. The first few times someone asked, "What do you think, Jun-hyuk?" I hesitated. "Can I actually say this?" I started slowly. Careful first steps. My idea was accepted. That feeling being heard, being considered. I hadn't known that could feel the way it did. The campus Wi-Fi was free everywhere. Library, lecture hall, cafeteria, even the bathroom. I searched Kim Jong-un one afternoon. Millions of results, news, footage, satire, parody. In North Korea, this is punishable by death. Here it was just a search. My hands still shook typing it, but I was free. I made a Facebook account. Friend requests came from the others. I hit accept. My first post just got into SNU. Likes poured in. I set up Instagram. Posted photos of campus, the library, my friends. Used the hashtags #FreshmanNuxSeoul.freedom. followers, comments. Congratulations. So cool. In North Korea, a single letter could be opened and read by the state. Here I was broadcasting my life to the world. This is freedom of expression. This is what it means. A delivery app. I ordered fried chicken at midnight. It arrived in 30 minutes. 30 minutes. At midnight. In the North, curfew started at 10. Netflix. $10 a month for unlimited movies and shows. Squid Game. Extraordinary Attorney Woo. The Glory. I stayed up until 4 watching. Midterm trip with the club and MT, what Koreans call a membership training retreat. A team building overnight in the mountains of Gangwon province. A pension. A bonfire. Upperclassmen pouring soju. Welcome to the school. Clinking glasses. Stories and laughter late into the night. Where are you from, Junhyuk? A senior asked. I paused. North Korea. Silence. Then seriously, what was it like? Hard, I said. No freedom. But the people were kind. The system was the problem. The senior put a hand on my shoulder. Glad you made it here. Make yourself at home. Warm. Not pity. Just solidarity. That night I talked with friends until morning. About life, about dreams, about love. Conversations I couldn't have had in the North. I'm just a regular college student. The thought arrived without fanfare and stayed. Exams had their own surprises. An open book test. You can look at your notes while you test. Memorization. Isn't the point, the professor said. Understanding is. In North Korea, I'd spent years memorizing Kim Il-sung's speeches word for word. No understanding required. Just obedience to the text. This is what real education feels like. Group project at a cafe, laptops open, dividing up tasks, taking a coffee break. Do you like Americano, Junhyuk? Yeah, Starbucks. 5,001. In the North, that was a month's salary for some people. Semester ended. Final grades. My major GPA 4.0 and A. A professor emailed, well done this semester. I look forward to what's next. I read it 3 times. Break came. My friends left for vacations Jeju Island mostly. Come with us, Junhyuk. I hesitated. No money. I said no. Minsu caught on. Don't worry about the money. I've got it. Pay me back when you're famous. I tried to refuse again. He laughed. That's what friends are for. Yeju. A short domestic flight. Out the window the ocean, blue and enormous. Hallasan. Songsan Ilchulbong. Black pork barbecue. We laughed through dinner, loud and careless. I'm happy. Actually happy. I repeated it to myself like a secret. That night, walking along the beach, the stars above us. They're the same stars you see in North Korea. But they felt new. Minsu asked quietly, you miss your family? Every day, I said. You'll see them again. When there's reunification. Until then we live well. Jeju taught me something. I am lucky. I know that. And with luck comes responsibility. There are people still there. I have to do something that matters. That summer I took on more part-time work. Saving for graduate school. Reading papers. Writing code. Building a study group with friends twice a week. Learning together. Teaching each other, arguing about ideas. This is real learning. I could feel myself growing. Looking back on that first year, a student challenging a professor in class. Wi-Fi free and everywhere. Delivery apps. Netflix. A mountain retreat. Jeju Island. Things I couldn't have dreamed up in North Korea. But the biggest surprise of all had nothing to do with technology. It was people's kindness. The fact that no one made me feel lesser for where I came from. I started keeping a journal. Today I was free. I'm grateful. Tomorrow I'll work hard. Short sentences. Every word true. 1 year became 2. Spring 2025. Second year at SNU. What had once been shocking became ordinary, borrowing books. Freely searching anything online, debating ideas in seminars. I didn't want to take it for granted. This matters. Don't forget what it cost to get here. Freedom isn't free. People bled for it. Second year brought a special course, Introduction to North Korean Studies. The first day, the professor asked if anyone in the class had come from the North. I raised my hand. I was the only one. The professor's expression shifted. You studied at Kim Il-sung University? I'd love for you to share your experiences throughout the semester if you're willing. I became the class's living source. This is what daily life actually looked like. This is how Jangmadang, the informal markets, actually functioned. These are the privileges cadres actually had. Students leaned forward when I spoke. A textbook is one thing. This is another. That semester I wrote my first academic paper. the current state and future prospects of North Korea's IT industry, grounded in my own experience building the Pyongyang network. The professor called it exceptional. Submit it for publication, he said. It was published. My name, in a journal. Kim Jun-hyuk, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Seoul National University. I read it 3 times. I wanted to show my parents. Summer internship at Naver, South Korea's largest tech company. I sat in their offices and thought, in North Korea, I couldn't even access Google. Now I'm working here. My intern project, an AI chatbot for North Korean defectors, a tool to help new arrivals navigate life in South Korea. When I presented it, the team lead said, let's build this for real. 3 months of development. The chatbot was donated to Hanawan, where new defectors begin their lives in the South. The coordinator who received it said, having people like you makes all the difference. That stayed with me, giving back what was given to me. In the fall semester, I was elected club president, organized orientation events, a hackathon, volunteer activities. Leadership was new. In the North, I only ever took orders. Here I was, figuring out how to give direction and finding out I could. At the hackathon, we won first place. Our project and app to document and share North Korean human rights information, defector testimonies, satellite imagery, statistical data. The judges praised it. This is meaningful work. The prize money was $1 million. My friends told me to spend it on myself. I donated it to a North Korean human rights organization. The staff member at the organization looked surprised, a defector making a donation. I'm returning what I received, I said. I meant it. 3rd year, fall 2025. Time to think about what comes next. My advisor was clear. You have the instincts of a researcher. Graduate school. He offered to write a recommendation, told me I could qualify for a scholarship. I wrestled with it. Graduate school doesn't pay immediately, but he was right. I want to research. I want to dig into the North Korea question from inside the academy. I applied to SNU's graduate program in computer science and engineering, research focus applying AI to North Korean studies. I wrote the proposal, sat through the interview, and received the admission letter. Full scholarship. Graduate student Kim Jun-hyuk. I said it to myself a few times. Still hard to believe. A defector, graduate student inside a year. Around that time, a high school reached out, a lecture request for their unification education program. Could I talk to students about North Korea's reality? I almost said no. I'm not a speaker, but my friends pushed me. Your experience is the lesson. Just share it. 300 high school students. I stood at the front, introduced myself. My name is Kim Jun-hyuk. I'm a North Korean defector. I talked for an hour. Life inside. The USB. The escape. Landing in Korea. Building something new. The room was still. Some students were crying. During Q&A, one student raised her hand. What about your family in the North? What happened to them? My throat closed. I think about them every day. I have no way to reach them, but I hope for the day we meet again. I didn't manage to hold it together. I didn't try. When it was over, students came up to me. That was moving. I hope reunification happens soon. Please keep going. Warmth I hadn't expected. And something else hope. Our generation might actually do this. We might actually see reunification. After that, more invitations came. Universities, companies, nonprofits. I said yes to all of them. If my story helps, it belongs to people. 4th year. Graduation approaching. 3.5 years gone. Cap and gown. Standing in front of the mirror. Kim Jun-hyuk, Seoul National University graduate. The tears came before I could stop them. Photos with Minsu, Jie, Songjun. We are officially adults now. Strange and real. The diploma in my hands. The president of the university shook my hand. Congratulations. Thank you. My voice barely worked. After the ceremony, I walked the campus alone. The library. The lecture halls. The cafeteria. All the places where things happened that changed me. At the library entrance, I stopped. 3 years ago, I walked through those doors for the first time and came apart. I went inside. Found the book, The Truth About North Korea. The same one I'd read as a first-year student, hand shaking. I opened it. Still painful, but different now. 3 years ago, I felt helpless. How do you change something this massive? I didn't know. Now I do. I'm going to change it. Through research. Through speaking. Through the small, stubborn acts of a person who refuses to look away. That evening, graduation dinner, pork belly restaurant, soju raised. To us, laughter all around. Minsu asked, "What's next?" "Graduate school. And someday I want to be a professor." "A professor studying North Korea." "Yes. A scholar preparing for reunification." They cheered. "You can do it." "You're brilliant." "We'll be there." Back home that night, I thought of my family. "Mom, Dad, I graduated from Seoul National University. Aren't you proud of me?" I wanted to say it. No way to say it. "Someday," I whispered into the dark, "I'll tell you everything." Out the window, Seoul's lights. One day may those lights reach all the way to the north. February 2026, I finished my first semester of graduate school. The research is going well. Papers being written. Lectures being given. I'm busy. I'm happy. The others are doing well too. Shiu is at KAIST doing mathematics research. Sujin is in medical school at Yonsei. Min-jun landed a job at a tech company. Daeun became an interpreter. All 5 of us, we made it. We still meet sometimes. We're doing okay, right? Yeah, really okay. We encourage each other. We remind each other why we're here. Live well for the ones still there. There's something I want to say to you. Freedom is not a given. Don't treat it like air invisible assumed. Some people are risking their lives for the exact freedoms you carry without noticing. The ability to search for anything, to say what you think, to disagree, to vote. These are miracles. In North Korea, 25 million people are living without knowing what freedom feels like. They are our people. Same language, same history. Don't forget them. Reunification is not a distant dream. Our generation can make it happen. But it starts with attention. Learn about North Korea. Make a friend who has crossed that border. Keep the conversation going. Small attention creates large change. I will keep researching. I will keep speaking. I will keep helping the defectors who come after me. That is my purpose. And on the day reunification comes, I will go to Pyongyang. I'll find my parents. "Mom, Dad, I made it. Seoul National University graduate school professor. I hope I've made you proud." I'll tell my sister this is Myeongdong. Let's eat fried chicken. Let's watch a movie. Feel what freedom is. I'll walk along the Han River with my brother. We're free now. We can do anything. Let's walk together. That day is why I work hard today. Studying, researching, speaking, helping, building toward reunification. One day at a time. Come with me. Care about North Korea. Make friends with people from there. Talk about reunification. Let's build it together. One last thing. I am happy. Genuinely happy. Running toward my dreams in this free place. Getting to meet you. Thank you for that. Thank you, Republic of Korea. Thank you, Seoul National University. Thank you, my friends. And to my family still in the North, I love you. We will meet again. Reunification is coming. We will make it happen. Together. Thank you.